If you would like a set of this season's recipe...
Just be still. We're going to put this on and try to give you that new stylish haircut.
Oh, I thought you were going to do a brain scan.
No. There's no use doing a brain scan on you.
Well, I got... Those scans would be wasted. Well, I got news for you. That bowl isn't going to help this hair either, but
no.
Never hurts to try. You know, Mr. Steve, the hair burner, he uses a much smaller bowl.
Yeah.
You know, of course, we're in for a major lawsuit with him.
Yes.
But that's okay.
But that's all right.
That's all right.
Yeah.
We don't care. Money is no object. So, I'm Larry Bly.
I'm Laban Johnson.
And we're Cookin Cheap.
Yeah, we are. And we've got a goofy show today.
Oh, no,
yeah,
that's
we do.
Impossible.
Bring the witch in and we'll find out why.
Another goofy show.
Oh,
Who could imagine?
I don't know, but it's... Ah, here she comes. Oh, sorry. Let's send her around this way. Boink. Oh, no, don't do that to the witch.
It's hard to find good witch throwers anymore. What?
Here, you can read it.
Oh, thank you. I love it when I get to read them. Dear boys, have you got any new meatball recipes? My whole family looks forward to your annual meatball shows. And they're just talking about just our appearances. We're crazy about them, and we never get tired of them. Thanks, as always, the Bering family. Round Ball Lane, East Orb, New Jersey.
You know...
Yes.
Folks, I got to tell you, Larry and I laugh all the time. We do a meatball show practically every time we do a new season.
In fact, I think we have more meatball recipes than we have casserole recipes.
It is unbelievable. And the funny thing about it is, and this is the truth, I put my hand on my heart, I honestly do not know anybody that fixes meatballs for dinner.
No.
At Christmas, I run into a few of them on, you know, buffet tables and things. But honestly, I guess we're just culturally deprived here in the mountains of VA.
Well, now, you know, of course, you've been with me to numerous parties, a few, down through the years. And you know how many meatballs I eat at parties?
Yes.
None.
And it's
not one of my favorite things in the world. But these are pretty good. The ones I'm going to make are meatball appetizer. I thought all meatballs were appetizers.
No, they're main. This is a main course I'm doing
This
today.
was sent in by Lou Burns of Lynchburg. Thank you.
And this recipe I'm doing is called Turkish meatballs, and you'll find out why it's called that in a little while. And it's sent in by Karen Petroni of Philadelphia. So this is, well, God bless you. Oh,
it's terribly drafty here in the old Cookin Cheap studio, and one of our staff members has come down with a cold. And the very lovely will be here in a few minutes, Doris, barbecued meatball. Now that sounds good. Anything barbecued is good enough for me. Anything is, I'm telling you. And that was sent in by Rachel Deddens, I guess it is, Lynchburg. So anyway, do you want to start? Do you want me to start? Do you want to start?
Oh,
You want me to start?
I'll start. But, you know, and we also have to say that Miss Carol is not here today. She's been laid out sick.
She's got the snorts.
Oh, real bad, real bad.
Except it's even worse than that.
We're taping this show during the cold and flu season, and it's lazily snowing outside. It's real pretty.
Hit it.
All right. These meatballs are made out of turkey, ground turkey.
Oh, no.
And here it is. And it really is an easy meatball recipe. I mean, there's not a lot of bad stuff to do. But the ground turkey, of course, for those of you that are looking for heart healthy recipes.
Look, it's moving.
This is one. Now, Larry, let me see. I needed to get some.
I believe that turkey is still alive. What is this?
Well,
Well, now that's a strange thing to start with.
Well, I thought maybe, you know, I'd just bring them in so that...
you remember that old Cal joke?
Right?
You used to shake hands one finger at a time? That's a dairy farmer joke.
Well, I have found that,
finger at a
you know, when
time.
you're using ground poultry or anything at home, and I'm going to roll these without these on in a few minutes, so you have to be careful. You have to wash your hands. But if you're doing meatloaf or something, these are great because you can do it all together, and then if the phone rings, you can just rip them right off.
I noticed that Mike Carroll was using one of those a while ago when he put his microphone on you.
All right, here's a pound of ground turkey, and into it we're going to add 1 egg, and just put the egg down in there, and that took care of that. And 1/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs. Use the unseasoned ones, please. And there you go, 1/3 of a cup of breadcrumbs. And 4 cloves of garlic that have been minced, and they're right here on my board. While I was waiting for Larry, I
What time do you like come in? 2 hours ahead of time now, or what?
Well, you know,
Makes
I
me
got
nervous.
plenty of time. And some cumin. And this is ground cumin. And let me just take the top of it. We need 1/2 teaspoon of cumin. There we go. Cumin, I have to be honest, is not one of my favorite herbs, but there it is, or spice. And some salt, and I'm just using a little bit. What are you doing back there?
Oh, look, you look like a turkey. See, I'm trying to, well, look in the monitor.
Oh,
So you
I
look
do.
like a turkey.
Either that,
Or an
yes,
Indian.
or no, an Indian.
Yeah.
I look like Chief Powhatan. All right, and let
Fun
me
with
put
gloves, ladies and gentlemen.
let me put some pepper in here. And all you do now is to squeeze this stuff around to get it mixed up. So I'm going to put on my surgical gloves here.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
And get into the mixing of it. And Larry, you might want to, well,
Now,
let
we
me
want to
mix
watch
for a
just
little
a
while.
moment of this. I wouldn't miss this for the world.
Now, my friend,
Dr. Johnson, ladies and gentlemen.
my
Johnson,
friend
MD.
Lena Mae Preston,
Uh-huh.
the late, sweet, wonderful Lena Mae, taught me how to do this kind of stuff. And when you're making meatloaf, this is very important. Just do it with the tips of your fingers.
right.
Don't squeeze it through your hand. If you do it like this, the meatballs or the meatloaf will be real tender. And but if you handle it too much, you can really mess it up. So I'm just going to.
If you handle it too much, what you do is you don't aerate it, and it gets as
Right.
hard as a golf ball. That's true. Well, I'm
so
ready to
that's
start
it.
here.
You go right ahead.
Meatball appetizers, and I tell you, I've tried it, and it's good. Now, as one who is not, I do not favor meatballs in the slightest, but this is not a bad recipe. And strangely enough, you start out with your sauce first. So what you do, you know those jellied cranberry things? It comes out, it sort of
Yes.
looks like it came from outer space, some sort of gelatinous mess. See, when I grew up, ladies and gentlemen, I thought that that's what cranberry looked like when it came out of the field, because I had never seen cranberry that wasn't formed perfectly like a can. But this does call specifically for jellied cranberry sauce, and that's the way you buy it, just like that. Now, by the same token, I had lots of friends who lived in the city who thought that eggs came out of goodness only knows where and had no idea where milk came from, so I don't feel too ignorant about the whole
Well,
thing.
you know, I lived in the city, and that's what we had for cranberries every year at Thanksgiving. Or
Really? These things?
Yeah,
Yeah.
the jelly rather than the whole berries. And it was only later on in my life that I learned that cranberries could be wonderful, just plain.
Oh, I love to just get a bag of them and just boil them up with a little sugar. It calls for a can of jellied cranberry sauce, and a half a can is about 1 cup if you break it out. To that, you then add 1 cup of chili sauce, something else that I never keep around the house, and I had just thrown some away from a Cookin Cheap Meatballs show a few years ago, and I got tired of falling across this, and I said, I'll never use this stuff, I'll never use it, and I threw it away, and yesterday I looked for it, and looked for it, and looked for it, and looked for it, and it was awful. So anyway, that goes in there. I think I have just enough that I won't have to look for it again as long as I live. I hope that all of it gets used so I don't have to mess with it again. And you start heating this up on real slow. You don't want to burn it now, so you'll start it real slow. Although I never have to worry about that on that eye. Turn it all the way up to blazing hot and it won't do much. To that, you add a 1/4 cup of brown sugar. That's sort of a sweet and sour thing. And also some lemon juice. And I have a fresh old lemon right here. And do we have a juicer? Because this lemon, this is one of those little tiny lemons, has thousands
of seeds.
Thousands.
That's why they're cheap right now.
Yeah, they are. These are pretty cheap, and they just broke out with seeds. Just horrible. So anyway, it's about 1 whole lemon you put in there. A small lemon, not one of those big ones. You put that in there. See, this just got tons of seeds in there. That wasn't so terribly bad, strangely enough. It's this side that has all the seeds in it. So anyway, that goes in there. And I think that's about it. The cranberry sauce, the chili sauce, brown sugar, and the lemon juice. And in a couple of minutes, I still got seeds in it. And in a couple of minutes, we will make up the actual beef part of this. And anyway, you just start cooking this right now very slowly up on the thing. Mr. Johnson is rolling out his meatballs and having a barrel of fun.
Now, with the meatballs, if you dip your hands in water first, they won't stick to your hands. And this recipe that Karen sent in is kind of weird because they're not balls. They're balls, but they're little football things.
Beg your pardon.
She recommended that you make the size of the meatballs like little footballs.
Oh,
so
for
that's
heaven's sake.
That's what I'm doing.
Pigskin parade.
Uh-huh. And so this would be a wonderful recipe for football season if you have the gang over to watch a game or something.
Mm-hmm. I have to wash my hands.
I hope they have a lot of soap over there today.
Do they? Do they actually have some? Oh, yes, lots of soap. Yeah. Too much soap. Okay. Well, it's TV, you know, you're supposed to fake it. Well, that's all right. I was just getting the juice off in my hands. Now, do you want me to do the rest of this?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Okay, well, that's the part of it that everything floats around in. And then you take about 1 pound of lean ground hamburger, which is what I have here. And to this, whoops, excuse me, I didn't mean to do that. We're going to add an egg. There's an egg. 1 egg. Some chopped onion. A teaspoon of oregano. Am I right on that? I think I remember this. Yeah, teaspoon of oregano. Little oregano. Don't be too heavy-handed with it because it'll just get a little... 1/2 cup of breadcrumbs go.
Doris went down the hall to the supply closet and got us some soap.
Well, isn't that just wonderful? You know, she's just a living martyr. That goes in there.
Hardest working woman in show business.
She is the hardest working woman in this building. Now, let's see what else. Egg, salt and pepper to taste. We'll add that in a couple. Now, I got to chop up some onion, so I will just chop some old onion up here in a couple of minutes. Put a little of that in. Chop the onion very fine because you don't want big old onion pieces flying out at people's when they're trying to eat at the party.
Right.
Or whatever it is they're trying to do.
Start a fight.
Yeah, that's true. Now, you see, this stuff is starting, well, I can't believe it. It's actually heating. When you don't want it to go like crazy, it's burning everything. Not really, but I mean, that's too fast. You want it real slow. And you just start heating that in advance. A couple of minutes, we'll be making these meatballs. I'm going to turn that down a little bit. So anyway, chop up about 1/2 of an onion and make sure that you chop it very, very fine. That is not, well, for heaven's sake, I have stuff flying all over the place here. Just about 1/2 of one will do. You don't need an awful lot. And chop it real fine because big pieces are not allowed.
Well, I'm glad to see that you've mastered the technique of onion mincing.
Oh, yes. Well, you know, I love to mince onions, but I won't mince words. You know me, I never do. So anyway, we'll chop those up real good. A couple of big pieces there. And you add that to the mix. And now we're going to do the same thing that Mr. Johnson just did, except I'm going to do mine all natural. Ah! You know how I
I'd
just
be
love
glad to. Doris, I'm going to need a large measuring cup because I've got
And
to
he's
measure
right.
a
You
cup.
just take your little fingers like so. You don't want to squish it. You just want to use your fingertips for the most part and get in there. And you've got to mix all of that stuff real well because you got to make sure that your oregano gets fairly well distributed through the beef. Otherwise, you'll have two meatballs with all the oregano in it, which will most assuredly be an unpleasant experience for everyone involved. And you also need to make sure that to get the breadcrumbs and the onions fairly well distributed too. But if you're not careful, your problems will increase exponentially as you go.
Oh, what a lovely word.
That's the word for the day. Okay, so there we go. That's pretty good. And now what you do is you just start rolling these out. Oh, I didn't put any salt and pepper on. Excuse me. Where's the salt and pepper? We have some, don't we?
Yeah, right over. Well, there it is.
Oh, there it
over
is.
behind me.
Okay, well, I got to wash
And
my
I've
hands.
got a can. All right, well, while you're doing that, let me start into my sauce. You need 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And there it is. That's just 2, that's enough. All right. And also 3 tablespoons full. Can I borrow, do you have your tablespoon there, Larry?
I have a teaspoon.
Oh, and I brought...
Well, just use 3 or 4 of them and you'll be all
I
right.
brought the wrong... This is supposed to be lemon juice. Have you got any lemon left?
No, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, I do. I do indeed. I brought an extra lemon along.
All right, well,
I
good.
just knew that a friend was going to be able to use.
You're right.
And here's the proper
All
thing.
right. Have you got the reamer over there?
Yes.
A little juicette?
Just so busy keeping Mr. Johnson in supplies.
Mm-hmm. Well, I appreciate it. Because I had squeezed out the lemons already. Oh, it's
Do you want me to
terrible.
do that?
No, I can get it.
When I'm standing by, willing to help you.
I know.
Anytime you need. Harold, he's standing by. He's got a wheelbarrow. I don't know what that has to do with anything. Anyway.
Oh,
This
now
is television,
yeah.
darling. Yes, I put the salt and pepper in while you weren't looking. Bless her heart. Aren't we terrible?
All right. Well,
My
this is
camera
supposed
person number 1, I love you. She realized I hadn't really done it, but you know what? I just didn't want to do it. But I should have put salt and pepper in.
This is supposed to be 3 tablespoons of lemon juice. Oh, well.
We're just a bunch of old TV crabs.
Yes,
we never
we are.
do what we say we're going to do.
And now I have to add to this a 1.5 cups of water. So let me see if I can bring that up.
Let me know when I give my recipe.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, the meatball appetizer, cup of jelly cranberry sauce, cup of chili sauce, 1/4 cup of brown sugar, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice. That's the stuff it goes in. And then the meatballs, a pound of lean ground beef, teaspoon of oregano, a half a chopped onion, excuse me, a 1/2 cup of crumbs, breadcrumbs preferably I think would be better. But I guess you could use cracker crumbs. Well, I'm using breadcrumbs. Salt and pepper to taste. Don't forget the salt and pepper to taste. And cook it on top of the stove until it's done. Actually, you cook it on top of the stove you cover it and you simmer it for about 1 hour. Now, Mr. Johnson, where are you on this
All right.
mess?
Well, I'm making the sauce, which is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and a 1.5 cups of water. And I'm going to bring it to a boil, I hope, and then we will put the fried, and you can do these, I think you could bake them, although the recipe calls for frying them, or use a non-stick pan like I did, and with very little oil in it, just a drop or 2, and so you've essentially got a very non-fat recipe here, which is awfully good for you. And as soon as this boils, I'm going to put the meatballs down in the sauce.
Okay, now I have rolled out just a whole bunch of meatballs and put them in there, and you will cover this and simmer it for about 1 hour until they're done. So that's at the covering and simmering stage, and it makes even more than that, but that's all the time I'm going to have today to roll them out because, ladies and gentlemen, by popular demand, she's back anyway. They're very lovely and semi-voluptuous Doris Ford. What do you got, Doris?
Okay, I have a barbecued meatballs, and I tried baking some of mine and frying them to see if you could tell the difference, but then after I put them in there, I couldn't. The small ones are supposed to be the ones I fried, and the larger ones I baked, and I like to bake mine rather than fry them. Then you don't have the extra grease and whatever for the meatballs. And this was sent in by Rochelle Deddens from Lynchburg, Virginia, and it has 21 ingredients in it. But don't let it scare you because it goes real quick. It's just getting it out and doing. But it takes 1 pound of hamburger, 2 slices of bread, a half a cup of milk, 1 egg beaten, 1 teaspoon of salt, a fourth a teaspoon black pepper, and a half a cup of chopped onion. And then you mix the meatballs up and roll them in flour, and either you can fry them. It doesn't say anything about oil, but I put a little bit of oil in to get it started. Somebody's lost up there. And for the sauce, you used 3 tablespoons of butter, 1 medium onion, 1 cup of ketchup, 2 tablespoons lemon juice, 1 teaspoon dry mustard, a fourth a teaspoon black pepper, 2 tablespoons brown sugar, 1 clove minced garlic, a half a cup chopped celery, 3/4 cup of water, 2 tablespoons of vinegar, 1 teaspoon of salt, and a dash or more of Tabasco.
She really gets turned on when I go to sleep on her.
So I started mine early and made the sauce. And it said to cook, make your sauce and let it cook a little while, and it didn't say how long, so I put it on, took my shower, and then it was done, I guess. And then you put the meatballs in and cook them for another 40 minutes.
They
I'll have to
smell
pick them up. And the meatballs tasted good, and the sauce sounds like it ought to be pretty good. And it doesn't say what to put it over, so I made some noodles to bring in to put over it. I don't know how it was supposed to be meant, as a dinner or, as like you say, as a cocktail thing.
Okay, thank you. Dr. J, you want to give your recipe?
Yes. For this wonderful Turkish meatball recipe sent in by Karen Petroni of Philadelphia, we've got a pound of ground turkey, 1 egg, a third of a cup of breadcrumbs, 4 cloves of garlic minced, a half a teaspoon of cumin, salt and pepper to taste, and the sauce is 2 tablespoons of tomato paste, 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, a cup and a half of water, and again salt and pepper to taste.
Okay, my meatballs are all steamy and wonderful and done, and I'm putting them in a nice little bowl for serving, and they're just beautiful. And I will tell you this, even though I'm not real wild about the things, that really is a very pretty recipe, and it is a delicious recipe. I promise you it is. I'd have you over, but I'd have to tell you how to find a studio. So how you coming with this?
Well, this is coming. They really need to cook in the sauce for 5 to 10 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Mr.
Well, that's
Johnson.
all right. They're cooked all the way through. That'll just heat them up. And I'm going to serve these over rice.
Well, we've got 3 minutes to do it in.
All right, well, let me just skirt. These are the little, this is what it looks like over here, the raw meatballs before you cook them. And these are the
They are
proper,
football-shaped.
Yeah, little football-shaped things. And I really don't know why that is, but it is. Now, let's see. Doris, you're going to have to help me, because I'm going to have to leave this here and take the rice with me. Maybe we ought to bring the plates over here and serve them here, since I have to put rice on. You can walk behind us, Doris.
It is permitted in television,
Yes.
although usually it's illegal in TV to do such a thing.
Put in some rice and a couple of meatballs for Mr. Bly. And a little of the sauce. And there you go.
Yeah, I've got to bring mine over, and we better do it quickly.
That. I'm coming.
I'm over here, and I'm going to try some of this stuff out. Mr. Johnson's rice and meatball. Not bad, Dr. J. Not bad at all.
Let me serve you some
Let me try.
noodles.
Oh, that's the greatest plenty. Oh, that'll be fine. Just 2 noodles. That's enough. Thank you very much. Let me try this barbecue stuff. Doris, I think we've hit the jackpot with that one. That's, of course, you know, I just love barbecue anything. And now mine. Definite taste of oregano, but very, very good. Well, I think this is superb.
Well, I'm so glad.
And you know,
now I'm confused. I don't know who's...
Well, you know, I'm not used to having rice and noodles all at the same time, and it's thrown me off terribly.
Completely. Well,
all of these are very respectable. I'm telling you, I like them.
well, good. But I'm not serving them for dinner.
Well, then don't. But you'll like them too. We got to go. Bye.